Welcome to thinkcloudly.com. And today we are going to discuss important interview questions which can be asked in various software companies. These are the common interview questions, guys, which can be asked in different companies like Apple, Microsoft, Accenture, and so on and so forth. So there are many companies who are looking out for cloud engineer, DevOps, role, and these questions are basically asked. These are very basic questions which are asked in the interview, right? So today's question is that how can we manage access in Amazon Web Services? Right. So first of all, what we are trying to uh, access or what we are trying to do in Amazon Web Services is that we are trying to create the resources. So resources are one of the most important parts, which we try to create in the Amazon Web Services. Now, a resource could be anything. Like if we want to create an EC2 instance, it is a resource. If we want to create, let us say, an EC2 instance or an S3 bucket, these are resources, right? Now we have to access these resources, right? So we will be trying to, or the user will be trying to access these resources. So how do we manage the access with or to these resources? First of all, we have to create what we call as the identities, right? Identities are those persons, those people who are going to use these resources, right? So we will be creating the identities, right? That means these identities could be users, group of users, or roles, right? Roles specifically, these would be provided to the applications, but all in all, you have to first create those users, those group of users, those rules which will be accessing these resources. The second thing which we are going to do is we will be going to attach the policies. Attach the policies. Now, policies are what? Policies can be defined as permissions. Policies are permissions, right? That means these are the permissions, whether the access can be provided or not. And one more important thing about these policies is that these policies are written in JSON language, which stands for JavaScript Object Notation. JavaScript Object Notation. So policies are quite important. These play a very important role, as well as identities. So we are dealing with two entities all in all, identities as well as policies. So in order to manage the access in AWS, first, basically what we are doing is we are trying to access the manage with regards to resources, right? We will create resources, right? And we will assign identities. We will create identities in the form of users, group of users, roles, applications, and then we will attach the policy. Okay. So the question for today is, what is a policy in AWS? What is a policy? Now, if we talk about policy, if we talk about the policy can be defined as a grouping of some elements, some top level elements which are optional in nature, and then the major crux of a policy is that you will have various statements, 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 statements. So you have, statements in a policy. Now, if we talk about statements, right? If we talk about statements, these statements, generally, this whole policy is written in JSON. That is JavaScript Object Notation. JavaScript Object Notation. So if we talk about a statement, What is a statement? A statement will have the following things. Number one, version, right? So it is the version of the policy language that you want to use. You want to use the latest version, and the latest version which is running as of now is 2012-10-17. So the first thing which you will be writing in a policy is the version. Then again, you have statement. The statements or the statement consists like this statement is like a container. Okay, it is like a container of the following elements. Now, what are the following elements? The following elements are, number one, you have statement ID. SID stands for statement ID. Again, this is optional. So statement ID means if you are having more than one statement in your policy, then this is the unique ID which will differentiate one statement from another. Right? So it is unique in nature. Then you have what we call as effect. Effect can have either the value as allow or deny. So either you will allow, either this policy is allowing to do something or either it is denying to do something. Then you have principle, right? So principle can be in short, I'm telling in very short that it can be a user or a role, right? So it can be a user or a role. Then you have action, right? So, it can include list of actions which you want to do. And we will be understanding with this with an example. List of actions that the policy allows or denies. The policy allows or denies action. Then we have resource. So these are the resources, list of resources to which the policy is applied. So list of resources to which the policy is applied. Right? So again, and last but not the least, you can have condition as well. So condition, again, it is optional in nature. Right? So, you want to grant some permission under some circumstances, then the condition comes into picture. Circumstances. Okay. So let us understand this with an example. So it will always start, a policy will always start with a curly bracket, right? Then you have something called as version. It would be like 2012-10-17, right? Comma. Then you have statement. It starts from a square bracket, and then you have a curly bracket. So the first statement is SID, right? So SID can be, I can give any SID. It depends upon what unique ID you want to give. It is first statement. It is not necessarily you will give first statement because I am writing it as first statement. That is why I'm giving first statement. You can give any SID. Then you have effect. Effect can be allow, right? Effect can be allow. Then you have action. Action can be like this. So this is double quotes only. IAM, change password. Change password. And I'll be giving the resource. Next is resource. Star means all. And if you want to end the policy, definitely this would end first. Then you have the square bracket for the corresponding square bracket, and then the curly bracket for the corresponding curly. So this policy is basically what it is doing is, first of all, this represents the all resources. But in here, it is not all resources. Generally, in practice, it affects the command. So basically what we are trying to do is, first of all, this IAM change password is an API operation, right? So it is application programming interface operation. That means the user is having, or user can change their own password. The user can change. So this policy can change their own password. This is what is the policy is saying. Okay, so this is a basic question or any statement. To describe any statement, it could be asked, right? So this is how a policy in JSON or in Amazon looks, AWS looks like. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Switch from non-IT to IT today. Explore www.thinkcloudly.com.